See if you can spot him. Another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemies destroyed his rap. America forgot him and me. I'm the damn fool that shot him.
Hey there, my name is David Tart, and I'm your 11 Second Club mentor this time around. I'm the creative director at Rocky Mountain Animation Labs, and I've been in the animation business for about 25 years. I've worked on Toy Story, Finding Nemo, Monsters, Inc., Toy Story 2, Bugs Life, Robots, Tinkerbell, Smurfs, just kind of a bunch of stuff. And yeah, if you're interested in finding out more about me, you could go to RockyMountainAnimationLabs.com. It's all one big long word with a .com at the end. And kind of find out what we do here. I want to get into this critique, and first I want to just talk about a couple of things that I really like about this. And one thing is that you're making really good use of using the entire body for the gestures, for the expression changes, for the movements of the wings, and it just makes it feel very organically connected, which is something that sometimes people don't do in animation. They get in these kind of like weird, like, oh, I'll just move the arm, but I don't really move the entire body to support that. So I like that. And the other thing that's nice is you do a really good job hitting your accents, hitting the major and minor accents, synchronize your key poses.
If you can spot him, another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemies destroyed his rap. America forgot him and me. I'm the damn fool that shot him. See if you can spot him. Another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemies destroyed his rap. America forgot him and me. I'm the damn fool that shot him.
Yeah. So really nice job. Major accents, minor accents, you're kind of nailing those, which is really great. Let me talk about something else. I have a whole list here I want to get into. You do a good job. Now, this is very difficult to do sometimes. So your main character is where we want to always be looking. And you have multiple characters, especially in this establishing shot. But for me, my eye was clearly on your main character. And that's difficult to do when you have a multi-character shot. Sometimes you're distracted or whatever. And that remains true even as we go through here. These characters are part of the story, but my eye is constantly drawn here, which is where you want me to look, at least for the first look through. Yeah, it's always about the main character, so you did a good job with that. Nice overlap, good overlapping action. You look at the swing, we've got some good breakdowns. Body's moving in opposition a little bit to the wing. Yeah, so good job with the overlap as well. All right, so now let me talk about some things that can be improved. And one thing I noticed, and one thing I'm a real stickler for, is eye line. Is making sure that the character is really looking where you want that character to be looking at all times. And there's a couple of moments where the eye line is either sort of a little under the character, right, or kind of over the character, and that you lose connection there. Someplace else, that we have this eye line established where this guy's going to throw his dart, but he's kind of looking like way down here, right? And so what happens is that the audience is set up by that eye line graphically. Where am I supposed to look? You know, I want to follow this character's eye line, and then it winds up being a little bit higher. At the end, he has kind of no eye line. The eyes are a little bit crossed here, but I actually like that. It adds to the feeling that the character is just like drunk on his own evilness. So that's pretty cool. Another thing, now some of this is hard to say without color, but composition in your establishing shot is really important. And if and when this was colored, this might wind up feeling a little bit busy with the way your characters are spaced in this composition. Got another character here and another character here. It's just a small thing, but setting up that establishing shot and getting a good overall composition, a lot like what you would do in graphic design, is something that's pretty important. Now, let's get to the next point. Oh, the other thing that you do really well, I want to point this out, is that you have very good cut on action, meaning that you establish the direction this guy is going, and then when we get to the next shot, he's continuing to move in that direction and fulfill the arc over the cut. Same thing with the wing here. You're getting that wing opening up over the cut, and it's continuing to open here and do the type of action that you need to do. Another place that you do this really nicely is when we're letting this character go, and the path of action is running straight down here. And it is important to pick it up where we last saw it. For instance, if it was up, over here, that would be kind of bad. If it was too far over here, that would be kind of bad too. But you do a good job of letting it continue in where the viewer kind of expects it to be, as established in the previous shot. Yeah, it is over here, really, but that's okay. That's good. All right. Well, now, so one thing that's a really nice thing to do in animation and any kind of movement or dance in general is utilize opposition. And opposition essentially is parts of the body moving in an opposite direction to the other parts of the body. You see this in dance when people are kind of doing like this number, and you create tension when things move in opposite directions, right? So as he, has his arm out here and his body's here, we can probably push the opposition. This wing is traveling in this direction. It'd be nice to see his body move further away in that opposite direction, which it doesn't, it kind of stays put. And another little thing you can do is, I would like to see a bit more squash and stretch on this guy as he falls. This is a really nice opportunity to do, some squash and stretch on this guy, which would add to the fun of it, since you had this opportunity to really kind of elongate the shape, just for fun. But in general, squash and stretch works better in 2D than it does in 3D, which I normally work in. But some of the rules still apply in that you want to feel it and not necessarily see it. We don't want to see an extreme squash and stretch. And let's see what my next little note here is. there's a little bit of a timing issue, and
another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemies destroyed his rap America, forgot him. Me, I'm the damn fool that shot him. See if you can spot him.
And I think it occurs in the beginning here. As he's moving in this direction, this guy already starts to react. And to delay that by a frame or two would probably be a good idea, because we're kind of missing that opportunity to have our attention on the reaching and then see the guy recoil. And it's part of the way people cognate. You know, something's coming at me really quickly. I'm likely to not react at the same time as that's happening. So might be nice to see that delayed by a couple of frames. Like with this one, this is done correctly. It's like he's not going to react until this guy's really in and creating contact there, right? So that feels a bit more natural. Okay. So I want to talk about the acting a little bit.
See if you can spot him. Another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemies destroyed his rap America, forgot him. Me, I'm the damn fool that shot him. See if
it's kind of I would like to see more expression, but the main expression you have on this guy tends to be this, you know, angry brow one, and we see that as being the dominant facial expression. And it just would be nice to see a little bit more range. You do, you know, sort of touch on it, but it happens so quickly that we don't get a chance to enjoy a larger range of emotion in this character. Like here, you get into this kind of like, oh, I'm surprised at myself. And there was another one that I really liked. This one, right? This is a great expression. He looks quite full of himself. And it's really only held for about 6 frames. It's almost like passing through too quickly. So, you know, I would look for some places to create some different facial expressions for that main character, just to switch things up a bit. And let's see. Nothing I want to get to. So one thing that was it's a pretty big deal, and this was the first I would say 4 times I watched this, I did not see the dart throw. I did not see that this guy had a dart in his hand, and I did not see that he was throwing it at this guy. And I had a friend of mine over, this guy Anthony Scott, who's a really great animator. He does stop motion work, and I asked him to come over here for a minute, you know, make sure that it's not just me. And we watched it a few times, and I said, did you see the dart? And he said, no. So, you know, and there's a couple of ways that you could make that stand out. One would be to add a little bit more or some anticipation to basically, you know, get him to move this wing in probably more than you do to sell what's about to happen, right? To really bring it in. And also, when he throws it, leading with the body, like holding this back, holding the wing back, so that it's feeling, you're getting a better feeling of the body leading the action, and you'll also have a better sense of overlap there. But then the next thing to do would be to let the body move back in this direction, to have a sense that he's moving back, you know. So firstly, to get that anticipation in there, to show and to feature what's, you know, there's something in this wing, and then to lead with the body and then come back with some recoil on that. And then one other thing that you could do would be to get the eyes over there earlier. Again, to telegraph to the audience that I'm going to be doing something over here that requires your attention, and that way they'll know a little bit more that something's going to be happening in that direction. So then let's talk about this guy's reaction over here, especially his facial expression. He's kind of in the very same facial expression, or one that's similar throughout, and it would be nice to see him have a more surprised facial expression here, you know, something where the eyes are open a lot wider. Maybe you could make the mouth very small, little, you know, but really trying to show that he's reacting to pain. And the reason why this would be a good idea is because then you're going to have a better transition to the sleepy situation, right? And it'd be nice to see the eyes kind of roll up into the head, keeping the eyes open for as long as possible. Let those eyes kind of roll up to the top of the eye socket, and then let his eyes close and continue with the wilting. That would also improve that feeling that he's been hit with something, hit with a dart, right? One of the, you know, another reason this might not have read that well is because it's so well synchronized with that piano chord, right? And so,
I'm the damn fool.
Yeah, it could be that that's getting in the way of the read too.
I'm the damn fool that shot him. See if you can spot him. Another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemy.
So just a couple of small things also. In terms of the lip sync, and obviously it's going to be very difficult to recreate accurate phonemes with the beak. It's not an easy job. And so the one place where it becomes a little bit of a problem is the bottom, when he says bottom. And I know, I get a sense probably what you chose to do, and that is, rather than hit, well, let's see, rather than hit this B and rather than hit the T, you just kind of went for the M and you held these ah shapes the whole time.
Immigrant coming up from the bottom.
But
coming up from the bottom.
Yeah.
Coming up from the bottom.
Yeah. It would be better to just at least close the mouth down and get that beak closed again at some place in here to hit the T, or at least indicate that you're going to hit it bottom, bottom. Even though, you know, because he doesn't have a tongue, you know, because that T is going to be hit with the tongue, right? Bottom, bottom. So theoretically, yeah, you could have that open, but I would just choose to just give it a little bottom, you know, bottom, like either have it open, you can have it open the whole time, just make sure to crank it wider on bottom, right? That could work, but it'll just help sell that a little bit more. And then one other thing in terms of lip sync.
Another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemies destroyed his rap. America forgot him. Me, I'm the damn fool that shot him. See if you can.
For the phonem sounds E and I, generally we have some stretching and widening of the lips, right? And so you kind of have the opportunity to do that in a couple of places.
Another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemies.
That's more like E. To get this kind of stretching back and maybe coming up a little bit too.
Enemies destroyed his rep. America. Me, I'm the damn fool that shit.
So, and to get that ah, and then, you know, if here the beak is open more, and we see that, and then we could see this grow back as the beak opens up for the him, right? And that would add a nice little bit of a kind of a sneer there. Let's see. What else do I want to tell you here? Oh. You could have a bigger antic
if you can spot him
on both bottom and bottom.
See if you can spot.
So just before he's going to throw his head up here, right, for the bottom, to take him down lower so that we can wind up feeling that upward movement in a bigger way. And then once again,
the immigrant coming up from the
to take him down even lower here, to be looking at this arc and to be playing that for a little bit more squash and stretch, and then a bigger upwards movement here.
Bottom, his enemies just.
And then finally, it would be nice to see a little bit more of a 2D arc on this bird as he moves from this position to this upward position. So to be thinking about that in advance and saying, okay, so I'm going to plan out this 2D arc, right? And then he's going to drop straight down. You know, so to take that down lower, and then begin to take him up, and up. Yeah, so that's about it. I mean, I think it's, you know, overall it's really well animated. You know, your composition is good. Like I said, we're really concentrating on your main character. Nice job on syncing. You know, the syncing the gestures and actions, and not to, even in a shot like this, like not too much movement on the secondary characters. We're not being drawn away from the main character. And I think the biggest problem is that this dart is something you want to figure out, like using a couple of those things I mentioned. You want to make that read. Yeah. Cool. That's pretty much it. Congratulations on winning the 11-second club and getting the chance to have somebody critique your work, for better or for worse. Seems like kind of a weird prize sometimes, but I hope that this was useful to you, and I was happy to do it. Keep on animating.